Today it's Milan to New York on American Airlines. It was around 80s when US Airlines became kind of mediocre. This was the time when British Airways, Swissair and Air France carried the stamp of prestige and quality, but they had their own decay in the early 2000s, losing throne to the likes of Emirates and Qatar. Surprisingly, Europe still thinks that its airlines are superior, at least to US carriers. I took this flight on American and some of my beliefs were shattered. Now I have 5 good reasons why to fly American Airlines. If curious, let's explore together. I go for economy experience today, and for consistency, no taxis, because paying up to €150 for airport taxi in Milan already feels like buying business class, just without a cute flight attendant or champagne. Instead, I'm taking a train, which is just €15 and takes you from city center to the airport in less than 40 minutes. Train ride is smooth, and in exactly 37 minutes we're at Malpensa, the shame of Italy. Built just slightly less than 20 years ago, it was designed back in 80s and looks and feels absolutely like that. Today's flight is 4,000 kilometers and 9 hours according to the schedule, while actually it should be around 8 hours only. It's a proper long haul, so I can truly experience how good or bad American Airlines could be. Funny enough, my ticket says British Airways. In today's world of code sharing and complex fare rules, the same flight ticketed by British was €200 cheaper than directly from American. It's August and the peak of the holiday season in Italy, so Malpensa is very chaotic and crowded. I start having some bad expectations of long check-in queues. It's very likely that an American will have extra checks and screenings due to the security. Also puzzled that I cannot find American counters next to One World Airlines zone. Then realize that they have a dedicated zone with other US airlines and are in the most further away zone of the airport where I never even been before. And here comes the first positive surprise. Despite a general mess around the airport, check-in zone of American seems to be very orderly and well organized. I'm taking an interesting gamble here too. My ticket did not include luggage. I have an entry-level One World Ruby status from Qatar, which does not qualify for free bag with British who issued tickets and whose rules should apply. But it's American-operated flight, and Ruby qualifies for them. It's a conundrum of cross-alliance rules, which means it's all up to the check-in agent. I go full Shrek's cat mode at the counter, big eyes, innocent face, and bang, my bag gets a free ticket to New York City, saving me good €70. I'm sure this would not happen on Lufthansa, and I already start to like American Airlines. Now to the gate. At the absence of any remarkable architecture or design solutions, Malpensa is trying to overcompensate with the abundance of luxury stores. At the end, Milan is one of the global fashion capitals. You can buy a €15,000 Loro Piana coat here, but good luck finding a chair to sit on while you wait for boarding. Otherwise, the walk through the airport is very plain, so I'm heading straight to the gate. The boarding area is spacious but absolutely not thought of. There is just minimum sitting space, totally not adequate to accommodate passengers of 777 flights. Now I can get a first look at my today's ride. It's Boeing 777-200 ER with quite respectable 25 years of age. And you definitely can't confuse it with any other airline with that distinctive red and blue stripes tail. American has whole 9 boarding groups. It's like social hierarchy meets air travel. With my One World Ruby, I'm getting group 3, which means I'm neither rich or famous, but kind of still have a hope. Same as with the check-in, boarding happens smoothly and without any drama. Unlike many other airlines, they take pauses between groups so that everyone could go inside and not to create crowds in the air bridge. Often they just rush people in and then you get stuck, but not in our case. Our 777 has 37 business seats, 24 premium economy, and 212 economy, called main cabin by American. Business has a strange configuration with some seats facing backwards, which is perfect if you like fantasizing about flying in the past, but doesn't psychologically work for me at all, so I would think twice if I had to fly in one. Premium economy is 2-for-2 configuration with nicer seats and more legroom, similar to what you could have in business on short-haul narrow bodies in US or Asia. And finally, we are in economy or main cabin. It actually has two sections, even though they are not clearly marked, but 7 rows of that economy cabin have more legroom and called main extra. All economy cabin is configured 10 abreast 3-for-3 configuration, but here is a little secret. The last 3 rows are actually 2-for-2, same as in premium economy. And if you have side seats, it gives you much better privacy. That's exactly what I pre-booked and heading to. The economy seat is Safran 5751 model, same seat that is actually used on Emirates 777s. They were retrofitted around 2015 and seem to be in a great shape as for 10 years old seat. These are early and new generation slimline seats designed to save weight and of course pack more passengers. A pack of blanket and pillow is placed on every seat in advance. Overall, the cabin is in a very good shape for 25-year-old plane, and this is the third surprise and score for American. The seats have 32-inch pitch, which is average for long haul, but it feels absolutely adequate for my 182 cm height. There is a decent recline too. Each seat has built-in in-flight entertainment system with a touchscreen and a remote, as well as universal power socket and USB port, all right in front of you. The screens look big from a first glance, but it's a trick as there is a big black frame around it, which makes it look bigger. Seats are also equipped with headrest, which bends on the sides, providing lateral support, a very useful feature. Now I can nap without accidentally leaning on my neighbor's shoulder, of course, unless she's cute. Surprisingly, while the plane was full, there was still some storage space left in the overhead bins, which definitely was helped by liberal policy on checked baggage. As always, I'm trying to do some plane spotting while waiting for the takeoff and spot some past or future flights. Bingo! Here is Turkish A330 taxiing. The food there is so good that even economy feels like business. I'm planning to take couple flights with them to try their old and new business class offerings. Check the reviews coming next month. Now it's the time for my hopefully one day world famous safety video competition. I like to compare how airlines leverage this otherwise very boring thing to distinguish themselves. No good news for American here though. Everything is very functional and plain. Air France was trying to be stylish, Cathay to be rooted into Hong Kong, but American safety video was an anthem to political correctness. When Air France went for a chic model-type flight attendants, American had every possible race, color, hair and body type, obviously aiming to tick all the points and avoid any claims that they discriminate or misrepresent anyone. If anyone wanted to have a class on differences between Europe and US, this video would be a perfect intro. What's also interesting for me as a European traveler is that the crew doesn't ask to keep the window blinds open during the takeoff and landing, which is a mantra in Europe. This is not required by regulation in US, so they're like, you paid for the seat, do whatever you want. Another difference about charging devices. In Europe, they make you unplug your phone during takeoff and landing like it's connected to the engine. On US carriers, as long as you're not microwaving something, it's fine. I'm not sure if this has some real safety implication or it's just another case of European over-regulation, but for sure this is another point that American Airlines score with me. The weather is perfect today and I am anticipating a very picturesque takeoff. We left the gate perfectly on time, finally a departure that's not fashionably late, just fashionably scenic. Milan is sitting right by the Alps and the famous Mont Blanc is just about 100 kilometers away. But Mont Blanc is to the left of our flight path and I'm on the right side of the cabin. This was the only two-seat row available. So when everyone else will get Mont Blanc view, I will get, well, the wing. There is a consolation prize though. I might get a view of Matterhorn, which you may know from the pack of Toblerone. It was a triangular shape of its peak that inspired the shape of Toblerone chocolates. And here we are. It might not be the best view, but this is a unique chance to see one of the most famous mountain peaks in Europe. If I owned an airline, I would have flight attendants serve Toblerone bars at this moment. We are getting higher, the view becomes less interesting, so let's check what we got inside. Amenities, pillow and blanket. The pillow is a bit small, but it exists, which already puts American ahead of some European carriers. The blanket is cotton, not synthetic, a small victory for comfort and against static electricity. It has a nice touch and feel and is actually large enough to wrap yourself. In-flight entertainment next. This is a day flight and I don't plan to sleep, so entertainment would be the second most important thing after the seat on this flight. Here you can see better what I meant before. The screen looks big until you realize half of it is black frame. It's basically an iPhone wearing a tuxedo. It's only 9 inches, which isn't much by today's standards, at least not for the screens. On the positive side, it's reasonably bright and very responsive to the touch. It's just that everything seems kind of miniature, as if you're dealing with the screen of a maxi-size smartphone. The movie and series choice is very good though, so I'm not worried that I would be bored for the next 8 hours. What else interesting we got there? There is a full menu for purchase on display, which is kind of unusual, at least for European carriers. The prices are relatively decent too as for the airline, like single malt Glenlivet mini bottles for $9. It also shows everything that is for free, which is nice and allows you to understand clearly what you will get and what you can buy. I'm checking then Wi-Fi and here I get the first glitch. Instead of connection, it offers only news and even that doesn't work. I guess I will have to experience one of the utmost luxuries of these days, a flying piece. Same goes for in-flight maps. It doesn't load, so technically we could be flying to New Zealand right now and not know it. It reminds me a bit my Air India experience, where it's actually expected that in-flight entertainment systems don't work the entire flight on 787s. But it's not that bad. Even with no Wi-Fi, I still got loads of movies to watch. We get rather simple wired headphones, but they get those little silicone tips which make for much better experience rather than with those hard plastic ones. Another good thing is that it has a standard jack, a simple beautiful thing that Apple will never understand, so you can easily bring your own pair and plug them in. To keep passengers entertained while the lunch service is prepared, the crew hands out snacks, a pack of mini pretzels. Here and with many other things, you can start noticing that sizes are bigger. Everything would be smaller on European airlines, while on American, even the snacks come in family size. 30 minutes later comes the lunch. From the first glance, it looks big and it looks American, even if I cannot explain what makes me think so. It's served with a set of wooden cutlery instead of usual plastic one. Nice touch showing that American is trying to be eco-conscious. The centerpiece of the meal is chicken marinara with mashed potatoes and steamed veggie. It's not going to win any awards for the best presentation, but it tastes surprisingly good and the serving size is quite generous by airline standards. The meal looks unmistakably American, generous, slightly chaotic but strangely comforting. Besides that, we got a small side salad to accompany chicken. As for the airline food, I have to admit that it looks rather good and fresh. Let's see what else. A typical airline-style bread roll, nothing to say in particular. A small piece of cake, kind of on European side of sizing, I have to say. I missed a stick of olive oil mixed with balsamic dressing for that salad. Makes a lot of sense. Finally, a cheese spread and the butter to add some flavor to that roll. And a bottle of water, which is actually an interesting choice. It's Thanon water, a French brand, not sure how it makes sense on American flight from Italy. On top of usual Cokes and Pepsi, American serves Dr. Pepper and Canada Dry, which are very exotic in Europe. And unlike European airlines where they pour you half a cup of soda, an American you get the whole can. Hydration and diabetes fully included in the price. They seem to be even US produced. I wonder if this makes much sense to carry all that weight from US to be able to serve on return flight, rather than stocking with what is available in Europe. Most likely it's a deal with the Keurig Dr. Pepper, the owner of the brands, to serve them on board whatever it takes. Another hot meal option for the lunch is lasagna. In a similar fashion to my chicken marinara, it's not likely to win any culinary awards, especially not in Italy. It looks a bit questionable on the outside, but once you get to know it a little better, it turns out to be totally eatable and definitely has a generous serving size. All in all, I actually enjoyed this lunch. This was really the case of the substance over the form. Simple comfort food and the proper sizes of food and drinks is another thing that I clearly appreciate about American Airlines. One more score for them. Right after the meal, the crew closes all the window blinds. It's daytime in Europe, morning in the US, and apparently bedtime on American Airlines. It's a bit unusual as it's unlikely for anyone to sleep, but probably makes it easier to watch movies. I thought we are done with the food, but a bit later we are served a cup of ice cream. I'm used to this in business class, but it's a really nice touch in economy. And the choice of the ice cream is really intriguing. While you would expect from American to have something ubiquitous like Ben & Jerry or Häagen-Dazs, they actually went for Beckleberry, a niche artisan ice cream from northeast England, a small town close to Newcastle. They are known for their focus on handmade, small batch production using traditional skills and premium ingredients. This is an ice cream that you can find in London's most prestigious department stores like Harrods and Selfridges, and on board of American Airlines. Another good thing, it has just right temperature and it's actually scoopable, not the frozen brick that sometimes you get on an airline even in business class. As we get closer to New York, the lights are switched on while the window blinds are still closed. American really has a thing for those blinds never being open. We get another rather long airline video, this time explaining arrival and immigrations, which together with all recent stories on people being asked to unlock their smartphones and show social media accounts, basically translates to good luck out there. Before the landing, we are still served a small snack and drinks. At first glance, I cannot even figure out what we got, so I have to look at the pack to decipher this mystery. It's something American calls folded pizza, while Italians would probably call that a crime scene. It looks and sounds strange, but it's warmed up and again, it tastes rather well despite its questionable looks. For drinks, once again, I have to credit them for serving large cups rather than those miniature European servings. We are descending and it's time to conclude. I came to this flight expecting an old tired plane with cramped seats and service with the warmth of a post office clerk. This is what US carriers still generally stand for in Europe. But the reality turned out to be very different and, to be honest, not much in favor of European airlines. This American Airlines flight turned out to be a very solid experience. It's not luxury, it's not chic, and it's not likely to win big awards. American has only 3-star Skytrax rating after all, but it works and it delivers what you need on a long-haul flight. Check-in was very efficient and easy on luggage. When in doubt, they leaned in favor of me as a passenger. While the plane was 25 years old, the cabin was nice, fresh, and in perfect condition. Seats are comfortable and with nice legroom, pillow and blanket at every seat. They serve comfort food which doesn't pretend to be gourmet, but it's good for what it is, and the servings are very generous. The only real downside was the small screens of the in-flight entertainment system and Wi-Fi that was ghosting me for the whole flight. In a way, American delivered a kind of experience that one would expect from Lufthansa, practical and efficient. I would never expect this outcome, but I would give them 5-, because no airline is perfect, but this one came very close, at least for economy class. We are landing at New York JFK smooth and safely, which is always my favorite part of any flight review. Unlike some horror flight reviews that you can find, I cannot tell at all that I'm emotionally or physically bankrupt or anything like that after those 9 hours of flight. On contrary, I still have a lot of energy to hit New York City. After all, it's still an afternoon here. Meanwhile, taxiing through JFK is fun for any flight enthusiast, as you can see here literally every single airline with long-haul operations. Finally, I see the familiar red and blue striped tails, which tells me that we came to Terminal 8, the home of American Airlines at JFK. Good flight, and definitely few of the myths were broken for me today. If you enjoyed the review, please hit that subscribe button. We've got more skies to conquer. Next up, Cathay Pacific brand new Area Business Suite, where luxury meets technology, and Turkish Airlines new business class, where they try to turn the airplane into a 5-star restaurant.